I want to get clients to a place where they no longer need me. And I make that clear. You know, the purpose of therapy isn't to be here forever. The Soar Firm is a private mental health practice. I'm located in Greenville, South Carolina. And so I provide a variety of different services such as counseling. I also do some coaching, which is more short-term based, people that are just kind of trying to, navigate some issues or some challenges and just kind of need a strategy to get going. And then I also provide some consulting services. And under that umbrella, I provide clinical supervision to social workers who want to pursue their clinical license and be able to practice therapy independently. And I also do work with other social workers who want to kind of start their private practice and maybe just don't know how to get started. So I help them kind of create a plan and just kind of help them navigate that process and get their private practice up and running. And then I also do workshops, with businesses, with organizations, and with different people in the community, just to bring more awareness to mental health and just kind of normalizing mental health and really educating people on the importance of taking care of our minds.
Wow. Now, mental health is a very important field. And I think even now with all this going on with COVID-19, I mean, it is probably something that's on the top of people's mind more. So, and I know that you just didn't start when the COVID-19 happened. So tell us a little bit about, what was your life before starting the Soar Firm, and just kind of like what made you want to make that leap to start your own firm?
Well, I went into the field of, so I went to USC, University of South Carolina. I went there to obtain my master's degree in social work after graduating with my bachelor's degree in sociology from Lander University. And after completing grad school, like I knew I always wanted to help people. I didn't always know what that was going to look like, but I just knew at the core of who I was, like I always enjoyed helping people and just seeing people thrive. And early on in my social work career, I worked in child welfare, which was very interesting. I also did some program management, managed, a staff of people within child welfare. So got some management experience. So that was, that was quite an experience. And I think that definitely taught me a lot about how to be a leader. Because, sometimes managing people, adult people, can be a lot more difficult than managing children sometimes.
So now, I guess, were you in a position where you were managing people who were older and younger than you, or?
Yes.
That one is always interesting to me. It's just like being in that position where I think one of my first experience was having to manage people. And it was like, it was one lady, I was leading a project, and it was one lady, she was probably maybe in her late 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something that I said, okay, all right, this is the way we'll approach it. We will do it. Now, everybody on the team was okay with it except for her. So it definitely it was one of those experiences. It's like, wow, all right, now I got to deal with someone who doesn't agree with me. But it's like, it was a challenge because I was maybe in my early 20s and she
Mm-hmm.
was like in her late 50s. So I'm like, I kind of like, she was about the same age as my grandmother at the time. So I'm like, I feel bad for like telling her like, hey, this is the path we're going to go, even though she doesn't agree. But yeah, that can be very interesting.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes. And you're right, especially sometimes when you're supervising people who are older, because they think because you're younger, you don't know as much or you're not as experienced. But I do believe that leaders are called. And so I think that, I believe that not everyone can be a leader or a true leader, but it definitely is a calling. And, it's not really about age, but it's about, does this person have what it takes to lead by example, to pour into their team, to develop their team. And sometimes that's a skill set that people who may be older than you may not necessarily have.
Mhm. Now, how did you find yourself developing, like, or you say, refining those skills of being able to pour into people, being able to, understand where they were starting from and helping them, make progress to the next step?
I would probably say so. I have always been a problem solver. Like as long as I could remember, like I always enjoyed like solving problems. If there was an issue that I saw, I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure out how to fix this. Now that can be a benefit, but it also can be to a detriment too. Especially when it comes to working with people, because you find yourself in some cases investing too much. So
Hmm.
I think that was a big lesson I had to learn, like learning how to meet people where they are.
Hmm.
And I think social work taught me that, because in the field of social work, we are taught to essentially meet people where they are. We can't expect people to be on a certain level if we don't first meet them at the level where they're at,
Hmm.
and help them to create a vision for where they want to go, and help guide them and help them create a strategy for how to get there. But a lot of times we're just like pushing people, like, you just need to do this, you just need to do
Hmm.
this. And some people either just don't have the capacity to do certain things in the moment, or just don't have the willingness. And we have to be able to discern which is which. Like, is this okay? They just don't have the skill set. And if they don't have the skill set, okay, can I provide this for them? Or do I need to refer them to somebody or connect them with somebody that can give them what they need so that they can be successful?
Hmm. And I think that's a very important aspect that I've learned, not from the social working aspect, but from just the pure business and marketing aspect. Because one of those challenges that I see a lot of business owners, or even as I do these interviews or just working with some of my own clients, is that they're trying to grow their business and they're trying to attract customers. And it's like they already have in their mind, this is what the customer needs, and it's just like customers aren't feeling like, hey, I don't think you understand where I am right
Mm-hmm.
now. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you're trying to tell me what you think I need, but I don't feel like you've actually taken time to really understand what my unique issues are, what my problems are, and then help me move forward from there. I mean,
Right.
how do you find that when it comes to connecting and, like, say, getting new clients for your business? Kind of what has that experience been like for you?
I have probably received most of my referrals by word of mouth. I advertise online and other, social media platforms, but I would say the majority of my business comes from current clients who are like, oh my gosh, like this has been helpful. You've really helped me. I got to tell my friends, or I know somebody that needs you. And that goes back to building rapport with people. And it's interesting that you brought, what you set up, because I don't feel like we can really make an impact in people's lives until we first learn how to build rapport with them. People need to know that they can trust us. And so that's very important in the therapeutic process. When a client comes to me initially, I pretty much kind of lay out what the process is going to be like, especially if this is their first time seeking therapy. They may have some questions, they may have some fears. And so we talk about those things. And I make it clear, this is the process. I let them know that I am in no way a know it all. I don't know everything. I'm not an expert in everything.
Hmm.
But my goal is to facilitate this journey, to help facilitate this journey for you, and to essentially be in the passenger seat or the
Okay.
passenger side. I'm not driving the train for you, because I still want to empower you to do that. But I'm just kind of like, okay, you're in the passenger side, just kind of pointing, all right, turn
Hmm.
there, to just kind of be that guide. So that first session, we're building rapport. My sessions, I'm pretty laid back. I have a laid back
Hmm.
personality. I love to laugh. I love to have fun. And so I think that's one of the things about me that I like, about my personality, that I like to bring out in the sessions. And I feel that definitely does help clients feel more comfortable. They're like, okay, this was good. Like, I feel at ease. So building rapport, learning about, what the client likes, like what are their interests, what are things they like to do in their spare time. And if I find that we have some commonalities, I'll bring those things up, and we'll maybe chit chat about certain things that we have in
Hmm.
common. So that definitely helps, kind of set the tone for the relationship.
Okay. And I think that that's very important. I mean, especially when you have, like I said, a product and a service like yours to where you do really become intimate with, their life and what's going on with their life to where people really have to feel very comfortable with, they have to feel very comfortable with you to be
Mhm.
able to really open up to get the benefit out of it. I mean, and I think you brought up a good point that I like to ask a little bit more about, like when you understand from your perspective of first where they are today and you're kind of getting a view of, hey, where they would like to be or what their goals are. What are some of those things that you do to really help people see the value in the process that you're facilitating versus just them just saying like, okay, all right, yeah, she gave me some goals, it's just like anything else, I can go read a book to get this. But how do you differentiate to really help them see the value that they get from your process?
I think one of the things that I emphasize is that because one of the common phrases I get a lot when clients come to me is like, I've been trying to just fix myself. I want to fix this
Mhm.
part about me. And I tell people that if we could fix the things about ourselves, that you wouldn't be sitting here in my chair today.
Yeah.
If you really had what it took to fix this part of you, then we
Mhm.
wouldn't be sitting here. But I help them to see that it's not so much about fixing ourselves, so to speak, but it's really about learning how to manage our life. Because there are just going to be some things about our lives that we can't change. There are going to be some things that we just can't avoid as it relates to our lives. And so giving them tools, and that's what I really emphasize, like, the whole purpose of therapy is to provide people with tools so that they can manage their lives. Because the tools that oftentimes we have or that we're using may not work anymore.
Mhm.
They may not be effective anymore. And so if I'm trying to use a Phillips head and I really need a flat head,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. So realizing that therapy can be very instrumental in helping us manage our lives, and that essentially I want to get clients to a place where they no longer need me. And I make that clear. The purpose of therapy isn't to be here forever,
Mhm.
but the purpose is to get what you need to get out of it, but then get to that place where you no longer need me.
Okay, and you mentioned about the tools that you have, and I saw the free ebook that you shared on LinkedIn, which I thought I was going through it myself, and I thought that this is a good resource. Without telling us all the tools that you have, because I don't want you to give away the whole house for free. But what are some of the tools that you've seen work effectively that people can like start that journey?
So in the world of therapy, so in school they teach us different therapeutic techniques. And these therapeutic techniques are pretty much essential to helping clients shift their mindset, because the whole goal of therapy is to help kind of reframe our thought patterns. There are a lot of thought patterns that we deal with on a regular basis, and sometimes those thought patterns are not always positive. In many cases, they're negative. And that could be based on our experiences, how we grew up, just how we see ourselves, how we see the world. And so, one of the primary tools that I like to use is what we call cognitive behavioral therapy. And the goal of CBT, is what we call it for short,
Hmm.
is to help identify what are the faulty ways we're thinking, right? To identify the faulty thinking patterns and identify how that is influencing our behaviors. And then figuring out how do we reframe those thoughts? Because if we don't reframe the thoughts, then we're
Hmm.
not going to change the behavior.
Got
So,
it.
for example, if I have this belief that I'm never good at anything, then that may impact my ability to pursue certain opportunities. I may not go for that promotion at work,
Hmm.
or I may not, embark on a business venture because I just feel like I don't have what it takes. But if I can go through that process of challenging that thought pattern and ask myself, okay, what evidence do I have? Or what would be a different way to see this? How could I see myself in a different light? And going through that process, that helps shift our thoughts, but then it also helps change our behaviors. And it's not an overnight thing. It definitely takes time. It takes practice. So I tell clients, like, listen, it's not going to be like you're going to wake up one day and be like, oh my gosh, okay, it happened. Like, it takes work. It takes work.
And I think that's always, an interesting business to be in is where, to really see the benefits of what you're offering them. It is going to take, time, and, they have to have patience and be consistent with it.
Yes.
So I think that that's a very big thing. So
Yes.
So you told us a little bit about your background, the firm, and I guess what you've done and just starting it and the services you offer. What are your future goals? Like, where do you want the Soar firm to be? What are some of those aspirations you have?
I definitely want to expand the business. One of my ultimate goals is to be able to plant different branches, like in different parts of the world, and really bring mental health to certain parts of the world where there isn't a big focus on it, and really trying to normalize mental health, help people to see the importance of mental wellness and how, when our mind is well, then we're well. Because our mind is connected to our body and our spirit. So if our mind is off or is not well, then it's going to impact our physical body. It impacts our spirit. So really, just traveling the world, and just really helping normalize mental health, and making people aware of the importance of it.
Okay. Now, outside of the Soar firm and your profession, what does Lakia do to just kind of disconnect and just kind of do your thing?
I'm a big music junkie. I love music. So I love all kinds of music. So when prior to COVID-19, I had a couple of trips planned to go to a few concerts. Of course, that got canceled, and that was a
Okay.
bummer. But I really enjoy music. I enjoy traveling. Anytime I get an opportunity to travel, whether it's out of the state or out of the country, I just love exploring the world. I also do Spartan races, as you know.
Okay.
That's kind of my that's my way to help take care of my body, but also my mind. It's a good way to challenge myself. So I enjoy doing obstacle course races and just really spending time with family. Really chill. If I don't have to be on the go, I'm not on the go. So I'm not that kind of person that I feel like, oh, I gotta be up and doing something all the time. I can just sit at home and just relax and just enjoy myself and just rest.
I admire that about people because that is something that I think this COVID-19 has definitely it's forced me to do that more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of those people who's used to doing that, and I think that there are a lot of people that find themselves like that, where they're used to just being on the go, having something to do. Then when you
Mm-hmm.
get to like home quarantine measures, to where there are some people that are really struggling now because they're just like, I got
Yes.
to be out, I got to go do something. What kind of advice or thoughts would you share with a person who's having a challenge with that?
I would say listen to your body, because our bodies tell us what they need. And we typically know like when we need rest. But I think there's this internal pressure from self that says, okay, I got to be on the go. I have to be doing something. But your body's like, no, like, we're tired. We need rest. And so taking that pressure off yourself, being gracious towards yourself, and realizing that, okay, listen, in this season with what we're doing right now with the quarantine, you may not have the capacity to perform at the level you were performing prior to this, but realizing and understanding that that's okay. For some people, they may just need to rest. For some people, it may be an opportunity. Okay, now that I have some quiet time, I can work on some of these projects that I've been saying I needed to get done. But really listening to your body and letting your body lead you, in terms of what you need to do. And I've even had to be more intentional about that too, because even though I'm still working, I'm still coming to the office, still doing sessions virtually, but I've had to even be more intentional about, okay, if I don't have the energy to work out today, don't force yourself. It's okay to rest. So just listening to your body.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, how can people get in touch with you if they want to hire you for your services, or if they want to follow your, the videos or the information that you're putting out?
So my website is www.thesoarfirm.com. So that's SOARFIRM. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram under The Soar Firm, and also on YouTube as well, under The Soar Firm.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and have a great day and all the best as you continue to pursue your goals with your business.
Thank you for tuning in to the Business Talk Library, aired on RETV. If you'd like to see more of the Business Talk Library, be sure to watch us every week on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m.